Hi everybody, this is Willie at newandlostcrafts.com, and I'm actually going to show you how to make a paracord bracelet today. So this will be a little bit longer video, but it shouldn't be too bad. The stuff I'm going to use is I have, about 12 feet of paracord, which will be more than enough for this bracelet. I'm just going to fit it to myself. I did try making this video before, and it's a little bit challenging, at least for me, with keeping the camera angle right, so hopefully I can do a better job here. And then I'm going to use these little clasps that I got from Amazon, and I think I got, a batch of about 100 of them for $5 or $6. They're really inexpensive, especially if you're going to make these for gifts or something like that. Anyway, first step, go ahead and take your paracord and fold it in half so you have a loop at one end. And I like to start with the, I guess it would be the male portion. And I'm going to go from the top end through. That's another thing that's a little bit of a challenge with these small clasps, is getting it through, but if you need to use a screwdriver or something like that, no big deal. So once you push that loop through, just go ahead and take the other side, both strings, pass it through, and pull it nice and tight. Okay, and that's all you need to do there. Okay, now keeping your paracord parallel, we're going to go all the way to the other side. We just don't want the paracord to twist. And this can be challenging as well, because if you have burned your paracord to seal off the ends, those stubs can be a little bit difficult to get through at times. I got one of them through just fine there. May need to get something else for this one. So okay, hopefully that helps a little bit. I just basically melted the end a little bit more and squished it with my fingers to make it skinnier. There, we got it. Alright, so got that through. And now we're going to try not to get twisted up here. It's not a huge deal if you get twisted up a little bit. But we're going to pull this most of the way through to the size of, approximately the size of a bracelet. And you can see the main part of these two, what will be the inner cords, they're going to approach both clasps and go through the top and through to the bottom. It's a little bit harder to see here, but that's the way we looped this one. You want them to be the same. It's not absolutely crucial, but it's nice to have them the same. So this is the neat part. What you want to do is go ahead and clip these just like it was a bracelet. And then whoever you're fitting this to, you're going to pull it at first, not tight, but just so it, it's going to fit on the portion of the wrist where you want it to. And what you want to do is get to the widest portion of the wrist that you would be sizing this to, and then you want to go ahead and pull out a little bit, just a little bit at a time. And what I like to do is get about 1.5 inches of play. If you can see that there, the reason is that as you do your Cobra weave around this thing, it's just going to get tighter and tighter. In fact, I might do this just a little bit looser even. You'd be surprised how much difference it is when you get it done. So there's a lot of play here right now, but where I'm holding this is once you get start, that 1.5 inches or so, and in my case, maybe 1.25 inches. Like I said, it takes practice, so don't worry too much about it. You can always back off. But I do like mine looser, be able to slide up and down a little bit, just to the point where I can't really get it off my hand without undoing it. And that's, by experience, what this will turn out to be. So at this point, you're going to hold that location, just kind of pinching, Go ahead and pop that off. Alright, now we have the beginnings of our bracelet here. So, I want to take a couple of close-ups here just because I think maybe it might have been hard to see in the film. So this is where we started, and I wanted to see you to see how the cordage goes, because it was a little bit far away, and where we're starting with the weave. Alright. Now, to start with the weave, you have your length set. What you want to do is start with the loose cord on either side of your center cord, and it doesn't matter, choose a side and just go ahead and pass it over the center like so. I'm going to try to lay this down for the first one. This first one is kind of tricky, the rest of them are a lot easier. I know my finger's in the way there. You're not really seeing anything voodoo magic going underneath my finger. What I'm doing is taking one of the cords, from the loose ends, pulling it on one side, passing it over what will be the center of our bracelet. And then we're going to take this one and go over that cord, but not over this side. Then we're going to go underneath the center of the bracelet and underneath and back up through that loop that we just made. Now you want to hold on, this first weave especially, you want to hold on to that sizing mark that we just went through, so you don't lose the size altogether. And it just takes a few seconds. You just got to pull and pull on each side. Okay, and that's what it'll look like when you're done doing that first one. Trust me, the rest of them are a lot easier. That first one, you just kind of need to get this thing locked in a little bit. You can even try it on. I mean, I've done this enough times, I know I didn't mess that up. So now what you do is go from the other side. So you always start on the side with the loop, this little bump here that is closest to you. So we're going to go over, and then take the other side and go over that one. Okay, and then under the center, then back up through the loop from the first string. And now these are much easier. You just kind of pull, tighten them as tight as you want to. So I'm going to keep doing this a couple of loops, and now, like I mentioned, now you can, it'll be more obvious once you do a few more weaves, but now this loop is closer to me, so you know you have to start with this side. So over, the other side goes over that, around the back, through the loop. And trust me, once you get good at this motion, you can make one of these pretty quick. So now the loop is here, closest to me, over, the other side over that, back around the back, and pull through. It's actually difficult for me to do it slowly anymore. It's easier just to whip it out. And a couple words of caution. Take your time when you start doing this stuff. I went wild for a while, and you can get calluses really easily, or I mean blisters really easily. As you do it more, you'll build up some calluses, is the way that's supposed to go. But pay attention to your hands and you start getting tired, because it is a repetitive motion thing. Don't want anybody out there hurting their wrists or something like that. But I struggled with making this video because I made a previous one. Actually, I made this exact keychain in that, and I wanted to do something different because there's a lot of videos out there about making the bracelets, but I've had a lot of my fans say, hey, show me how to do this, so that's what I'm doing. And again, just to kind of reiterate, I think these are great gifts. People love them. I've never had anybody that wasn't excited to get one of these. And it's not something that's easy to just buy for somebody, because it has to be sized. Otherwise it's just going to be too loose or too tight. So it's kind of a fun thing that you can make for somebody, something real special. And then, you know, from a prepping standpoint, or just an everyday preparedness standpoint, I don't think there's anything wrong with having some paracord on you. And this is a really easy way to carry, you know, in the end, 8 to 10 feet. And it's easy to unravel this if you needed some nice strong cord, which could come up at any time. I think you have to stop babbling down. I will fast forward through the rest and see you at the end, show you how to finish this off. Alright, so we're near the end here. You know, in real reality, that maybe took me about 3 minutes to do. So, not too bad. Now, the question is going to come up. You can see I'm right at the end here, a little bit left in the center. The question is going to come up, you know, when do you stop? And, you know, my answer to that is kind of whenever you want to, but I like to fill up as much of it as I can. See, a lot of people might stop there. It gets a little bit weird, but you can get one, maybe even two more in there. It's just going to be one at this point. But it finishes it off really nice. As I was doing that, I wanted to, I thought of a couple other things to tell you. This type of cordage, if you do get it wet, it does shrink just a little bit. That's another reason to give yourself plenty of leeway. You know, when you're making a bracelet like this, it doesn't shrink a lot, but I've had bracelets that fit, you know, really perfectly in terms of there's no spare room, and then you know, forgot about it, got in the shower or whatever, and they're just a little bit too tight now. So anyway, I thought about that, and then this end thing, go ahead and keep going. Once you're having to pull it and you can kind of see it shoving itself down, you're done. Again, the whole idea is to make something beautiful and get some paracord on your wrist. The easy way. You can of course use a knife or something, but I like to sew, so I have a really nice pair of scissors. I have a feeling a lot of people out there may have ever experienced a really nice pair of scissors, and you get territorial about them. But paracord is tough stuff, and it's hard to cut because it's hard to break. But if you have some nice scissors like this, what you want to do is leave just a little bit sticking out there, a little bit less than a 1/4 inch maybe. Don't cut it right up next to the bracelet, because that's just too much. You need to leave enough to finish off. Now, we ended up with about 2 feet of leftover, so that means there's about 10 feet of paracord in this bracelet. And all you really have to do is go ahead and finish the ends off. I like to leave them a little bit longer. Once they start burning, you can pretty much blow them out. This can take some practice, especially if you have kind of raggedy ends. Okay, so now the ends of the paracord are finished off. I like to do one more thing. You can see where this piece of paracord comes through this last loop. I like to put a little flame right there to kind of seal those together. So it doesn't slip and doesn't come undone. So you can see where I kind of melted that portion there, so it doesn't come undone. I hope that makes sense. And then of course the same thing to the other side. It's really easy to break because it kind of becomes brittle. when you cook it like this. And so you might lose an inch or so of your paracord in doing this, but the nice thing is that it will not unravel after doing that. And everybody out there, that's it. Be careful when you do that to the ends. They'll stay hot for a while, but you have a beautiful paracord bracelet ready to go. So with that, this is Willie at newandlostcrafts.com. Quick shout out to Silver Gamer. It's one of the followers that I met when I was visiting my mom down in Arizona. And she was terribly interested in this, so I hope this helps out. Willie, newandlostcrafts.com. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks, bye.